Modern English defines apathy as a state of psychological flatlining. It suggests unresponsiveness, a lack of motivation, and complete emotional emptiness. This definition invites us to imagine the Stoic as an unfeeling statue. But looking into these unmoving stone eyes, we miss the reality. Epictetus warned his students that becoming a lifeless block of marble was never the goal. The popular caricature of Stoicism depicts a person sitting in total passivity. We picture someone watching their home burn or life's work crumble with a vacant, unresponsive stare. Projecting this clinical definition of apathy onto the ancient world misrepresents the Stoic sage, who was expected to be a highly active and engaged participant in human affairs. The confusion begins with the Greek term apatheia. While it is the linguistic root of our modern word, the ancient concept differs in its mechanics. In a Stoic context, the term translates as being without pathe. Pathe is a technical classification. The Stoics used it to describe irrational passions, chaotic and destructive impulses, rather than the full spectrum of human feeling. To understand the Stoic goal, we have to look at the cognitive architecture they use to categorize an emotion. Apatheia describes the intentional, systematic removal of specific cognitive errors from the mind. Stoic theory posits that emotions are not involuntary events that happen to us. They are conscious judgments we actively make. We generate apathe when we judge external indifference, things like health, wealth, or reputation, as having intrinsic moral goodness or badness. When an event occurs, it strikes the mind as an impression. For that impression to become a painful emotion, the mind must give it assent, effectively agreeing that the event is a catastrophe. Because emotions require this act of assent, the Stoics argued that psychological suffering is a product of the rational mind rather than a biological necessity. This does not ignore our biology. Humans possess involuntary physical reactions to sudden shocks, which the Stoics called propatheiai, or pre-emotions. A philosopher will flinch at a sudden thunderclap, or feel their eyes tear up upon hearing tragic news. These are biological reflexes. They occur before the rational faculty of assent has time to engage, meaning the Stoic does not yet categorize the event as a moral evil. The Stoic still feels the initial physical shock. Their training simply prevents that reflex from evolving into a cognitive crisis. Epictetus illustrates this with his shipwreck analogy, a high-stakes test of the sorting gate. During the planning phase, the Stoic exerts maximum effort. They select the best captain, a sturdy ship, and the safest day to sail. Mid-voyage, a storm hits. It overrides all human planning, and the ship begins to sink. The untrained mind on side A grants assent to the chaos, judging the sinking ship as a terrible evil, triggering panic. The sage on side B withholds assent. They recognize their life as a moral part of a whole, facing the water with calm understanding. True apatheia allows for maximum effort in preparation while maintaining a total absence of emotional dependence on the outcome. If outcomes like survival or health are technically indifferent, we have to ask, why does the Stoic bother to act at all? The answer lies in Epictetus's analogy of a ball game recorded in his discourses. Expert athletes play the game with intense focus, but the ball is a dull gray object with no intrinsic value. The value resides in the skill and technique of the players. We watch to see the excellence of the play, not to possess the ball. The Stoics called this selection. They pursue preferred outcomes, like physical health, based on rational planning, rather than an emotional craving for the object. If the ball is dropped, the expert player accepts the new state of the game and plans the next move without weeping or rage. Stoic motivation is fueled by the perfection of one's own rational agency, rather than the acquisition of external prizes. When the mental friction of irrational dread and craving has been cleared away, the Stoic mind transitions to a different state. Clearing the patheia makes room for eupatheiai, which translates as good feelings. These are three rational emotions: joy in one's own virtue, caution against moral weakness, and well-wishing toward others. This produces a lifestyle of active civic participation. Sages were teachers, leaders, and parents who engaged with their communities while fueled by these rational emotions.
apatheia provides the psychological clarity required to experience true, rational joy.